You know, Finchy, you've been such an incredible mentor to so many, including myself, and I'm so thankful for that. Just a wonderful mentor.
I first met Ian when he was 19. We were both two 19-year-olds. Dreams. You had a great golfing career. I'm come from New Zealand and Australia. We're meant to be enemies. But amongst this nearly 46 years, we've become great friends. So.
How good was Ian Baker-Finch? That question haunts golf fans decades after his collapse. But here's what Tiger Woods said when Ian retired from broadcasting in August 2025. Tiger called him out by name. Jack Nicklaus did the same. Two of the greatest champions ever stopped to say goodbye to a man who won just one major. Two titans who rarely give personal praise decided this moment mattered. This is the real and complete story of Ian Baker-Finch's legendary career. Not the yips, not the missed cuts, not the public fall from grace. This is about what the legends saw when they looked at him. If you're watching this and want to shout out your love for this kind of golf history, hit that hype feature below and give some love to the video. Your engagement matters, and honestly, these stories of character in golf deserve to be shared. Let's dive deep into why all the titans truly respected him. Number 1, Tiger Woods. People remember the collapse. They remember the driver's shots flying into the stands. They remember a major champion who could no longer compete. But that is not what the legends remember. They remember something else. They remember a man whose character never slumped even when his swing did. Tiger Woods, the modern titan of professional golf, spent 30 years watching Baker-Finch work. From 2007 to 2025, they shared the CBS broadcast booth. Tiger narrated the course, Ian narrated the soul of the game. When Tiger retired from his broadcasting role, he took a moment to honor his broadcast partner. "Congrats, Finchy, for 30 incredible years behind the microphone," Tiger wrote. "You brought insight into things that the viewing audience could understand and relate to. That word matters. Insight, not hype, not drama. Insight." Tiger respected how Baker-Finch analyzed golf with the wisdom of someone who had lost everything and lived to tell about it. Because Baker-Finch developed the yips, he understood fragility in ways Tiger's perfect mechanics never would. When Tiger struggled with his own chip shot troubles or battled back injuries, Baker-Finch did not mock him or speculate wildly. He analyzed with compassion. He had been there. He knew what it felt like to have the thing you love most suddenly turn against you. Tiger also appreciated that Baker-Finch could be honest without being cruel. The world saw Tiger as the ultimate competitor, a man who admitted wanting to step on opponents' throats. Tiger was the predator. Baker-Finch was the opposite. As a kid in Australia, Baker-Finch threw golf balls into the trees for fun. He was a gentleman who understood golf should contain joy, not just victory. Yet somehow Tiger respected him completely. Their relationship showed that an analyst could tell the truth about a golfer's shots while maintaining their personal respect. That was rare. Most broadcasters either fawned or went for controversy. Baker-Finch threaded the needle. The 2019 Masters became their greatest shared moment. Tiger was completing his impossible comeback after years of injuries and scandal. Baker-Finch was in the booth as the final round unfolded. His commentary during that final round was praised for its restraint and emotion. He understood that the moment was about history, not hyperbole. By letting the pictures breathe and offering only necessary context, he allowed Woods' achievement to stand tall, a final act of service from the broadcaster to the player. Number 2, Arnold Palmer. Arnold Palmer represented something specific in professional golf. He was the gentleman archetype, a player who looked people in the eye, signed every autograph legibly, and treated the gallery as friends. For decades, this approach was seen as soft in a sport that valued ruthless killer instinct. Then Ian Baker-Finch proved that decency was not a competitive liability. When Baker-Finch retired, writers and broadcasters made the connection explicit. Palmer built the modern golfer persona on warmth and accessibility. Baker-Finch kept that torch burning throughout his career. "Achievements on the golf course are not what matters," Baker-Finch said. "Decency and honesty matter most." This quote echoed Palmer's entire life philosophy. The two men never competed against each other in a meaningful way because they belonged to different generations, but they were spiritual kin. Palmer died in 2016, so he never saw Baker-Finch's final broadcast in 2025. Yet their connection lived on through Jim Nantz, the voice of CBS Golf. Nantz revered both men deeply. Palmer had given Nantz his personal breakfast table, a symbol of their friendship. Baker-Finch was Nantz's broadcast partner for nearly 2 decades, and part of that circle. Baker-Finch often shared stories about Palmer on the air. He told the tale of Palmer's difficulty tying a tie, a humanizing detail that brought Palmer down from legend status to man. These stories served a dual purpose. They honored Palmer's memory, and they showcased Baker-Finch as a keeper of the game's lore. He was one of the few people who could speak of Palmer not as an untouchable icon, but as a person. Baker-Finch understood the difference between reverence and relationship. Palmer Palmer had established a culture of encouragement in professional golf. He would write notes to younger players. He would offer support when their games faltered. Baker-Finch was a recipient of that goodwill. He benefited from Palmer's legacy of connection. In a sport that isolates you, that can crush you, Palmer's network of kindness was the safety net that caught players like Baker-Finch. Number 3, Jack Nicklaus. Jack Nicklaus looms over every golfer born after 1940. For Ian Baker-Finch, Nicklaus was first a distant idol, then a technical template, then finally something more powerful, a source of profound human empathy. As a teenager in Queensland, Baker-Finch modeled his entire swing on Nicklaus's seminal instructional book called Golf My Way. Baker-Finch's technical DNA came from Nicklaus's blueprint. That Baker-Finch would later win a major championship with Nicklaus in the field was the completion of a competitive circle. But the real story is about compassion, not technique. In the mid-1990s, Baker-Finch's game disintegrated completely. He developed a full-blown case of the yips. His driver became a weapon that fired in random directions. He hit balls onto adjacent properties during tournament play. He was missing cut after cut. A major champion had lost his way. This was Baker-Finch's darkest valley. It was during this period that Jack Nicklaus did something extraordinary. They played together in a U.S. together in a Open where Baker-Finch had again failed miserably. Afterward, Nicklaus approached him. He did not offer a quick tip. He did not offer generic encouragement. Instead, he offered something massive. He invited Baker-Finch to come to Florida and stay at his home for a week or two to work privately. Nicklaus, the greatest player of all time, was opening his personal sanctuary to a struggling peer. This gesture is almost impossible to overstate. Nicklaus was willing to invest his own time to help rebuild another man's career. Nicklaus did not owe Baker-Finch anything, yet Nicklaus saw something worth saving. He saw a good player with a wonderful personality who was hurting. Baker-Finch did not accept the offer. Perhaps pride or shame stopped him, but the significance of the gesture never diminished. It stands as eternal testimony to the respect Nicklaus held for Baker-Finch. When Baker-Finch finally retired from broadcasting in August 2025, Nicklaus sent a public tribute. Ian has been great for the game of golf. He was a good player with a wonderful personality. He has been a great addition to the CBS golf broadcasts. This endorsement from the patriarch came full circle. Nicklaus framed Baker-Finch's entire life not as tragedy, but as contribution. Number 4, Tom Watson. Tom Watson was not Baker-Finch's mentor like Peter Thompson, nor his captain like Gary Player. He was something more mysterious, his statistical twin. In 1977, Tom Watson defeated Jack Nicklaus in the duel in the sun at Turnberry. Watson shot 65 on Saturday, 65 on Sunday. His final 36 holes totaled 130 strokes, a major championship record. 14 years later, Baker-Finch arrived at Royal Birkdale. Saturday brought a 64, the course record. Sunday brought a 66, 130 strokes. Two players separated by time and ocean, connected forever by a single number. To this day, that number binds them. It elevates Baker-Finch's victory from a hot week to a historic anomaly of brilliance. For Baker-Finch, matching Watson meant everything. Watson was the king of the links, 5-time Open champion, masterful in wind and bounce. By matching his record, Baker-Finch earned his place among links legends. The two men shared something deeper than a record, a philosophy. Both were purists who believed the Open Championship was the ultimate examination of a golfer's soul. At St. Andrews, Watson practiced banking shots off the wall behind the green. Baker-Finch observed this mastery. Two Open champions inhabiting a fraternity that few could ever understand or fully appreciate. They shared a language of golf that only masters could speak. Number 5, Gary Player. Gary Player is called the Black Knight of South African golf, a 9-time major champion and one of the big three. When Ian Baker-Finch's playing career ended in 1997, he faced an identity crisis. Gary Player provided the platform for Baker-Finch's second act, integrating him into the leadership structure of the global game. The vehicle was the President's Cup. Player served as captain for 3 consecutive matches: 2003 in South Africa, 2005 in Virginia, 2007 in Montreal. For each, Player selected Baker-Finch as captain's assistant. Player is famous for exacting standards and obsession with winning. That he repeatedly chose Baker-Finch signaled he valued his tactical mind and decency above golf game performance. Baker-Finch managed locker room dynamics and provided counsel on pairings. This period from 2003 to 2007 was crucial. It allowed him to contribute without hitting a shot. It was professional rehabilitation that restored his confidence and cemented his status as a respected leader within the international golf community. players' faith in Baker-Finch never wavered. Number 6. Greg Norman. If Peter Thomson was the father figure of Baker-Finch's career, Greg Norman was the omnipresent brother figure. Throughout the 1980s and 1990s, Greg Norman was a global brand of aggression and dominance. His nickname, the Shark, perfectly encapsulated his style. Baker-Finch, by contrast, was the consummate stylist with smooth rhythms and quiet efficiency. The media placed them in opposition. Norman was the alpha who took the chorus by the throat. Baker-Finch was the nice guy. This became external pressure for Baker-Finch. As his form dipped, he was bombarded with unsolicited advice to be more like Norman. Baker-Finch's wife, Jenny, astutely noted that trying to adopt Norman's persona was impossible because it was contrary to Ian's nature. Despite this contrast, the two men shared a deep bond as dual pillars of Australian golf. A pivotal moment occurred in 1996. Desperate to arrest his slump, Baker-Finch was offered help by legendary swing coach Butch Harmon, who had revamped Norman's game. However, Baker-Finch declined. Harmon was firmly Norman's coach. Even in desperation, Baker-Finch respected the sanctity of the relationship between his compatriot and his coach. He refused to betray that loyalty. Number 7. Peter Thomson. Peter Thomson is the 5-time Open champion and the undisputed patriarch of Australian golf. The relationship between Ian Baker-Finch and Peter Thomson is the bedrock upon which Baker-Finch's major championship career was built. It represents the transmission of knowledge from one generation of Australian golf royalty to the next. In the early 1980s, Australian golf was in transition. The golden era of Thomson was fading. The explosive era of Greg Norman was beginning. Ian Baker-Finch, a young professional from Queensland, found himself caught between these two worlds. He possessed a fluid swing and natural touch, yet he was searching for the tactical maturity required to win on the world stage. It was in this crucible that he sought the counsel of Peter Thomson. Thomson's influence was not that of a modern swing coach. Instead, Thomson operated as a philosopher of the game. He recognized that Baker-Finch's flaw was methodological, not physical. Baker-Finch was a range rat, a player who believed the secret to golf lived in the dirt of the practice tee. He would hit thousands of balls, relentlessly grinding to perfect a mechanical action. Thomson identified this as a critical weakness. He understood that repetitive striking on a flat range did little to prepare a player for the chaotic variables of tournament golf, particularly on the links courses where Thomson had forged his legendary career. Thomson explicitly instructed Baker-Finch to abandon the volume-based practice regimen. That's better than hitting 100 balls, Thomson would say. Don't go and hit balls all the time. You're just going to ingrain what you don't do well. This advice was counterintuitive, but it was rooted in Thomson's deep understanding of the mental atrophy caused by mindless repetition. Instead, Thomson prescribed a regimen of situational pressure. He told Baker-Finch, just get a handful of balls and go out to 17, and practice finishing 4-4 to win. The specificity of this advice shifted Baker-Finch's focus completely. No longer was the question how to swing. Now the question was how to score. Thomson's mantra was simple yet profound. Just learn how to win. Baker-Finch later referred to these lessons as little pearls of wisdom. They were not lectures. They were subtle recalibrations of his mindset. Thomson taught him that winning was a learned habit, a specific psychological state that could be practiced just like a bunker shot. This mentorship had an immediate impact. Baker-Finch entered the 1983 New Zealand Open at Middlemore. In a poetic twist of fate, Baker-Finch won at the exact same venue where Peter Thomson had secured his own first professional win 33 years prior. The apprentice had walked in the master's footsteps. The ultimate validation of Thomson's mentorship arrived in July 1991 at Royal Birkdale. After opening with 2 steady rounds, Baker-Finch unleashed a weekend performance that stands as one of the greatest in major history. He shot a course record 64 on Saturday and a 66 on Sunday. His play was laser-like precision and eerie calmness. He played the final 36 holes in 130 strokes. When Baker-Finch lifted the claret jug, he was validating a specific lineage of Australian golf. He had proven that the wisdom passed down from Thomson was still potent in the modern era. His ability to explain links golf to an American audience on CBS was directly derived from the masterclass he received from Thomson. He became a conduit, translating Thomson's mid-century wisdom for a 21st century audience. And that is the complete picture. His character never slumped, never wavered, never broke. Not when the game abandoned him, not when the world moved on, not when everything fell apart. His integrity remained unshakable throughout every challenge. The gentleman champion carried his torch through the darkness and lit the way for the next generation. That is how very good Ian Baker-Finch really was to the sport of professional golf and to everyone in it.